Hi there. So I've been doing some chopping, as you can see, and all of it has been white ash, and just noticed a few things and been thinking a lot about white ash and how this is maybe the last time I'm gonna be able to work with live white ash. And so I just wanted to make kind of like a little, farewell video for this species on my farm. Learned it's been kind of like a teacher for me, because as it's been the main species that I've used to do the cordwood challenge, it just, I've worked with it a lot, so I'm kind of familiar with it. And I also did just notice yesterday a phenomenon that I noticed once before, where if you cut white ash in the wintertime, below freezing temperatures, and then you have sort of a bunch of freeze-thaw cycles, the sap will start getting forced out of the cut surfaces of the firewood as just naturally. And I noticed that happening, and I just wanted to just document it again, because probably this might be the last time I'll ever see it, and it's not something I think that you would ever notice with saw cut wood. But like, this is wood that I cut yesterday, and you can see the little droplets that look like condensation, but if you taste them, they're very, very intensely sweet. It's like sugar water. And actually, in a previous video, I noticed this happening, and what was happening was this was happening over a period of a week before I noticed it, but it was a dry period where we were having just really cold, dry weather. And so the sap was getting forced out, and it was actually drying, and it made like this sort of candy surface. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's supposed to rain later today. But I mean, so I'm just documenting this just in case it's the last time I ever see it. So here's one. It's got a big branch coming off. I think the field came right up to this at one point, which is why this branch, I think, comes way out. I don't think this one would make a very good saw log, but it's actually a huge tree. Like, if I hug this tree, my arms won't even go halfway around. It's, enormous. Just a really big tree. And then there's another couple. Here's one. And I think you can see that up there, all that. I'm gonna zoom in. See those bright spots? That's woodpeckers. So I'm pretty sure this tree has already got the borer. But I was seeing a lot of damage, borer activity in the cambium in the trees that I've been chopping. Which I've never seen before. I didn't notice any borer activity in the bark, but this year I'm seeing it in every tree, and I'm just noticing little places, and I've noticed it on trees that I've driven by. Now this tree over here, it's kind of a double stem. This bark confused me for a while when we first moved here, because I was like, that's not an ash tree, because the bark is very odd. But actually, if you look over here, that's like the classic ash bark. But for whatever reason, this tree has gotten to where it's flaking off like this. And both of these trunks are quite big. But I don't know why this particular one does this flaky thing. Maybe it's just the local conditions here, but you can see there's just a tiny area here where it's sort of facing these other stems where it's got this still like the classic ash tree surface here. But it's like loosened. But this tree's alive. I mean, as of 2018 it was. I don't know. I've got one other tree that does this, and I don't know if that's just a genetic habit that, you know, because like this trunk isn't as large as, you know, those two there, but it's got this, those aren't flaking like this. So I don't know, just something to notice. I mean, you know, like I said, documenting what they're like, and you know, individual trees are genetically distinct from each other sometimes. So, but, so yeah, these trees will all be dead supposedly in a few years. And like, I don't know with where this one's located. Like I said that I wanted to harvest some of these and, you know, mill them up for flooring, you know, partially just to have them to remember the trees by, you know, because, but I think like a tree like this, I'm probably going to have to leave it. It's just in such an awkward spot. I would have to pay someone a lot of money, I would say, to get this log out of here. And, you know, because it's right along the creek bank, super steep bank over there, you know, and then I just don't know how I would get it out. You know, and the same with that. There's a big ash there, right on the sort of the point of, you know, where the creek turns. And then there's another one there. Like these ones I'm probably gonna have to leave. I have some big ones, but I can't get them all, you know. I'll go show you a couple more. Here we are kind of in a group of large ones. There's, you know, one big one there. This one's decent size, and here's more of the, you know, you can see the woodpecker activity. This is all, I just started noticing this. I mean, this tree has a snapped off branch up there, so maybe this tree was already on its way out. I don't know, here's a double stem, but then see, woodpeckers are working on that tree there. And then here's another big one here with, you know, woodpeckers all the way up and down the trunk. And then here's a really big one. Where I don't see much damage yet. That's a pretty large tree, and actually you can see it's got a little bit of that flaky bark, but nothing like that other double stem tree. But this is another really big tree. You know, and then there's another pair of them there. Yeah, it's just a shame, really, because they're, you know, I do have some of these trees here in this area that wouldn't be too hard to remove, you know, to fell towards the field and then haul out, you know, so we can, I think, I really would like to, you know, try and salvage, you know, some of the lumber just to have, you know, just to floor like my kitchen or the living room with it, you know, to have sort of white ash around when it's gone here. So, and then as far as like Torp was asking in my last video if there would be trees to pick up, and you can see there's a lot of small trees in the underbrush, mostly black cherry, that are, I don't know, I mean, there's certainly plenty of, you know, young trees, and then there's a lot of black locust in here, which is quite fast growing. So I'm not worried about this getting deforested, but you know, and then there's, you know, maple, there's a few maple, and then there's birch around, and birch is a nice pollinator species, so, you know, birch might come in, I don't know. But definitely the nicest trees in this bottomland area by the creek here are the white ash, and they're gonna all be gone, which is a shame. But there's you know, not a lot to be done about it. I mean, there's nothing to be done about it. It's just one of those things. And they are, by all accounts, preserving seed, so they're gonna get a good genetic sample of the species, and then hopefully they can eventually find, you know, like a biological control for the borer, so that, you know, the species can be repopulated in the eastern woodlands. But it's not gonna last here. That's just clear to me. You know, I can see the borer. I can show you. So I was saying I've seen a lot of borer damage as I was, you know, bucking up these logs, but I couldn't find any right there in the stack. But this is one of the stumps, and you can see this is the wood was still green, but it was dead. Like, this tree was dead. You could kind of tell in the upper, but like, yeah, and then over here, so this is, they just essentially girdle the tree and kill it by like destroying the cambium, and it's too bad. But it sure does seem like it. I was never seeing damage like this 2 years ago when I was cutting a lot of ash trees by hand. And this year I've been seeing it as I buck the logs up. You know, a piece of bark will pop off and you'll see galleries like this, even though most of the trees that I've cut are still alive. But I just wanted to make this video to sort of say goodbye to the ash. Okay. Thanks a lot for watching.